Pressure's mounting on the Trump administration to release the full video of that controversial follow-up strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean in September. Some of the lawmakers who viewed the video call it a potential war crime. Over the weekend, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth would not commit to the release of the video. But this is all happening as CNN's K-File uncovered new video of Hegseth back in 2016, repeatedly warning about then-candidate Trump issuing unlawful military orders.
The military's not going to follow illegal orders. And so the Trump campaign was forced to change their position and say, we're going to try to change the law so that the military can operate within the law. That's a tall order also. Here's the problem with Trump. He says, go ahead and kill the families. Go ahead and torture. Go ahead and go further than waterboarding. What happens when people follow those orders or don't follow them? It's not clear that Donald Trump will have their back. Donald Trump is oftentimes about Donald Trump. And so if you're not changing the law and you're just saying it, you create even more ambiguity.
Well, even if he had their back, they'd be in trouble. I mean, you tell me. I had a dad stop me.
You'll remember Hegseth recently branded 6 Democratic lawmakers who urged U.S. service members to disobey illegal orders the seditious 6, accusing them of spreading despicable, reckless, and false information. Let's get some perspective now from Michael Farkas. He's a retired JAG officer and military judge. Sir, thanks so much for being with us. Do you see the remarks made by Hegseth a decade ago or these lawmakers just about a month ago as reckless?
So I don't think it's analogous. I do not think that it's fair to compare the Secretary's statements from a decade ago to what the 6 members of Congress said last month. His comments were in the context of commentary about statements then, I believe, candidate Trump was making on the campaign trail about things that would have been clearly illegal. And he was commenting in response to that. What the members of Congress did recently was to put out, a formal, purposeful video. I don't think anybody can argue that it's just a public service announcement, for the good of the force, right? It was clearly a political statement. But what it did, in my estimation, what did indeed make it reckless is that it did not state the law accurately. And what it did not say can lead to so much speculation and potential chaos within the rank and file in the military as to have made it a very irresponsible decision. I'm happy to elaborate further if you like.
Yeah, please, because I don't think that they specified any protocols in that video or any laws in that video that they believe that the administration had issued that were illegal.
Correct. And that's part of the danger. So what they did was they basically said to everyday service members, many of whom are young, almost none of whom have actual legal training, right? They invited them to start speculating or theorizing about whether their orders in general may be unlawful and encourage them to think, well, maybe I shouldn't obey them or agree with them. And that is incredibly dangerous and irresponsible for anyone, especially an elected official at the federal level, to suggest for our military. It goes to the actual core of what good order and discipline is in the military. Now, the actual law is that service members are duty bound to disobey patently illegal orders, which means obviously, that's so obvious that it's illegal. A very good example would be the My Lai massacre in the Vietnam War, where soldiers were ordered to shoot villagers, women and children defenseless in the village of My Lai. That is very, very different from orders from the chain of command that have come from the National Command Authority. And we also know that when talking about the boat strikes, there is a Department of Justice, Office of Legal Counsel memorandum, no one's seen yet, but authorizes this use of force as to make the boat, the traffickers combatants in an armed conflict. So what service members are actually duty bound to do under our law is to presume that their orders are legal and only to disobey patently or obviously illegal orders. That's a far cry from anything that the Secretary was saying 10 years ago.
I wonder separately, sir, on the matter of the boat strikes, as the Secretary says that officials are reviewing whether to release it, what factors they are considering. This is something that the president himself floated he was open to.
Right. Well, I absolutely think that the video needs to be released, and that Department of Justice memo needs to be released. It shouldn't shock anybody that if you are a member of Congress from one party and you look at the video, you say, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my public service career. And if you're from the Republican Party and you watch and you say, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, unfortunately, that's the climate we're in right now. I think the public needs to see that video, and we need to see that memo. I don't quite understand why a memo is confidential or classified when it deals with issues of constitutional law. But, that's just me. So my point about what the members of Congress put out and stated to the service members of our military is not to suggest that the boat strikes themselves will indeed ultimately be determined to have been legal. That's not the point. I think we have a long way to go before anybody can say that the operations in the Caribbean right now are determined to be legal. But the point is that as of right now, our service members are duty bound to follow that as a legal order of the chain of command up to the National Command Authority.
Judge Michael Farkas, we have to leave the conversation there. We appreciate your analysis.
My pleasure. Thank you.